Welcome into the Swarmcast here on the ESPN Houston YouTube channel and ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. It's presented to you by Blue Star Tequila, the world's first and only night harvested tequila. You can find it near you at bluestartequila.com. We're talking all things Houston Texans. We'll react to preseason game number 1. We'll talk about the unfortunate injury that happened at Texans practice with Brevin Jordan. And plus, there's a lot of lists coming out. Will Kunkel, my co-host, as always, with CJ Stroud at the focus of it, the NFL Top 100. We'll even critique the Killer Bees to their top 10 quarterback list every year.
I've already got problems with it.
Well, perfect. Then. That's perfect. I guess we'll start with Brevin Jordan. So at practice, Landry Locker, the way he was tweeting about it, it really seemed reminiscent of the Tank Dell injury last year with how upset the team was. Losing him for last year, he re-hurts the same knee this year in practice on Monday. Now he's out for the season. Honestly, I just feel bad for the player. I think there was a lot of questions about, we've discussed in last week's show about, really the tight end power ranking of who's going to be the most used guy. But to now not even have Brevin Jordan as an option, it's a brutal way to start the season.
Yeah, and you feel horrible for him because he's such a likable guy. Like, I had him on Kicking with Kunkel and him, and I just put this out on the channel again. Like, I had it scheduled to go out the day that he got hurt, unbeknownst to me that was about to happen, of course. And him talking about like how close this team is, how they study the Bible together, the chapel, they share verses, like, and his enthusiasm for life and his enthusiasm for football, it's contagious. And everybody in that locker room, when he got back, loves him and was so excited. And that's why you see the devastation on all the players' face. It's the injury is one thing, yes, but it's the human being aspect that has this team so bonded and so tight that makes it that much more painful for this team to see someone like that go down.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate too. Again, just to be another season-ending injury. It's just
it sucks. Like,
it sucks. I mean,
everything you work so hard to come back. Like I've had labrum surgery and I had to rehab and it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Let alone an ACL to get back to playing NFL level football. I can't even imagine, because at some point you're just gonna be like hell with this.
Yeah,
like,
because
this is exhausting.
No, because I mean, for Brevin, it's not just about coming back. It's the future of your career. It's now 2 seasons in a row, the same exact knee. You try to come back for next year, it's going to be, nerve-wracking, honestly, for him. Like, just to think about what could happen, and you just never know. I mean, some of these guys, unfortunately, they just don't really ever get back to where they're from. The only hope and positive thing I would say for him is I do feel like I'm 33. From where I was to, when Adrian Peterson got hurt to where we are now with ACL injuries, so much has changed. Like AP, when he got hurt and he had that big brace on, it was like what he had done is like never done before. We do see guys come back from ACL, so hopefully for the best for Brevin, it's not the end of his career and he can rehab and come back and still have hopefully a long career after this. For the Texans' perspective, though, because it's the hard part of injury conversations, because you have to talk about, what's next. How do you fill that void? I mean, where do you see this tight end room now going forward based on what you saw in preseason and training camp and now just where this team's at?
It helps the potential logjam.
It does.
Like, there was a situation, do we keep all 3 tight ends? Who is our number 1 tight end? How do we utilize Brevin if we do want to keep Brevin? Do we put him on special teams at all? Like, what role does Cade and Dalton have compared? Like, this at least alleviates some of the tough decision that would have to be made. That's like the horrible silver lining in creating a 53-man roster. So that makes that a whole lot easier. And then good shout out to Brevin because he got a new contract in the offseason. So, and I don't know what was guaranteed. Someone can write it in the comments below. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's like the saving grace is that he did sign a contract extension in the offseason.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a very nice thing to have. It's one of those things when baseball players specifically talk about guarantees and non-guarantees and and NFL players versus NBA, where NBA is like all guaranteed basically. I know that's what NFL players eventually want it to be.
Good luck.
Unfortunately, I think Deshaun Watson ruined that for the rest of the league. But at least he's got something there. But yeah, I agree. It's very clear. It's Stover, it's Schultz. And it really feels like Stover is, really having a push for that number 1 spot at tight end, regardless of the Brevin Jordan injury. He seems like he just continually is improving, and the positive things you hear from him out of camp just are growing more and more, it feels like.
Yeah, and I said it last episode, and I'll say it again, is that I think the tight end that wants to be the most physical will get the most playing time, and I think that Cade Stover is going to get every single opportunity to fail. And I don't think he will, but I say that because I think the coaching staff loves him. They want to see him succeed, and they want to put him in. They want to see what he can do, and they're going to put him in every single type of position and situation to see what he can do, and he'll be given every opportunity to get as many snaps as possible. And I think they want him to be able to usurp Dalton Schultz. It doesn't mean it'll happen, but they want to see him be able to take that next step. And now there'll be more snaps available to him, unfortunately, because of Brevin Jordan's injury.
Let's look back at preseason game number 1. Texans lose 20-10. Obviously, the result doesn't matter. But it is, it's preseason. Some of that game was a grind. I think it's a nice way to watch.
Yeah. Took the under 39.5. Hammer Demeco's defense in the preseason.
Yeah.
Like, hammer it because it's going to swarm all the time. They're going to play 110% every single snap, first string to fourth string. So hammer the under.
What's the biggest positive that you saw from this first game?
The culture shift on the offensive line. I thought the offensive line did what they wanted on that opening drive. That's obviously where the most focus was. It was first team-ish, like the first-ish team. Most of the starters were out there. Obviously, some significant names out. But I thought the culture shift of wanting to pass block and wanting to run block downhill, the holes in the gaps that were created for Darian Goombawale were massive. He had a good first stretch. Braxton Berrios, that touchdown catch, but we saw that play run in practice and training camp a bunch, that play action bootleg, and then the way Braxton finished the run. Hard nose, physical run, like the culture of that offensive line and the offense has permeated to what Demeco Ryans has wanted. And that, I think, was the biggest win against the Vikings. Now, going ahead, I know we'll probably talk about that, but I want to see that now just kind of expand the playbook just a little bit.
Yeah, because we obviously don't get the full taste of everything, of what the offense is going to be. But I think the Berrios one is a great example of I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I
don't expect him to be a contributor.
No, but I think
that mentality to want to finish that, I thought was big.
I do think he'll contribute to the Texans a little bit this year. I mean, it feels like he's got I guess I haven't seen a ton of stuff about punt return and kick return and things like that, but you brought him in for a reason. It feels like that's his role. And Berrios has been one of those guys where when he was with, Miami, it's like it felt like they were, I guess it was a couple seasons ago at this point, like he was like a guy to grab this guy in fantasy because he was putting up some solid numbers. He's a good extra option on the roster. Unfortunately for guys like John Mechie had a solid game. Braxton kind of complicates the wide receiver room, I think, a little bit because he can do kick return, he can do punt return. You could also use him on offense. So he is one of my positives, too. Not just the touchdown catch, but I liked overall what we saw from Berrios.
Position flexibility.
Yeah.
Like, that is huge when you're on the cusp of making a roster. John Mechie doesn't have that. Xavier Hutchinson doesn't really have that, although he was on punt coverage, I remember, in training camp at least one day. And I looked at Cody Stutes. I was like, has he ever been on this team? He was like, nah. So, guys are doing things that they don't normally do because they want to make the roster. John had he caught the most balls, I believe, of any Texans player, but he dropped too many passes. There were too many throws that he should have caught that he didn't catch, which is the MO for Mechie. But overall, he had a fine game. But I think you're right. Braxton's going to be that dude that can come. He's going to have one or two games. You're like, damn, I wish I started him, or damn, I wish I had him on the roster.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be consistently catching 5-6 balls a game.
Yeah, I mean, look, and they changed the kickoff rule again this year. We saw that kind of be put into place, and they're trying their best to make that a real exciting play again. It's never going to get back to what, Dante Hall or Devin Hester were doing probably. Damn. I miss those days.
Damn.
Those were the best.
Those were so fun.
Those were the best. But it does feel like it's going to be more important this year. The NFL's trying to make that not just a, touchback into another timeout, coming out of a timeout. They want it to be a real play. And if Berrios can fill that role, that would be very good. The number one thing for me that stood out, I love EJ Speed. He's awesome.
He looked good.
He was all over the place for this defense. I was like, I don't know what that linebacker room really looks like because you have a lot of talent between Henry To'oTo'o and you have EJ Speed now, and you have obviously Christian Harris, who's got some question marks with the health and everything like that. And of course, you have Aziz, but EJ Speed, I was like, this guy's got it.
He's
the whole
physical
game.
as hell. The best thing I saw from EJ Speed was his ability to play sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
Because To'oTo'o and Aziz Al-Shaair, as good as they are physically, they're more of a north-south type linebacker. They don't cover guys out of the backfield. And Christian Harris is a dude you really needed against Travis Kelce or Jalen Petrie last year in the playoffs, and he didn't have that. Can EJ Speed now be that guy that can cover sideline to sideline and cover guys running drag routes and things like that, more intermediate routes as well. So like super excited to see just the potential that he brings of doing something that the other linebackers don't do.
Yeah, I just felt like in this game, it was like I can almost imagine Demeco, and I'm sure they know this from practice, being like, oh, I can use this guy.
Yeah,
it's just another chess piece.
And just like the mental, like the will of want.
Yes.
Demeco loves that, and that dude wants to just hit.
Yeah, so I think that was my number one.
That's a good one.
And then the offensive line I thought there was some positive stuff, and I do think it's always weird, right? Like we're not offensive linemen.
Thank God.
We're not Lance Zierlein. We're not breaking down the tape like he does, but it was clear. I think the biggest negative for me did feel like Blake Fisher did not have the best day.
I hated initially when Cam Robinson got hurt. They shifted the offensive line around to avoid having Blake Fisher at right tackle in training camp. I was like, that was bad. I know I mentioned this last episode, but when a coaching staff is trying to avoid you in practice, like good luck getting on the field in the game. And then he got his opportunity in the game. He had a false start. He allowed a pressure on Caden Slovis, I believe, on third down as well. Just a really bad showing. And the fact that he is a second rounder, if Ariante Ursary doesn't pan out, like when was the last time they got any sort of success out of a draft pick that's an offensive lineman? Thankfully, it looks like Ursary is going to be at least competent to start. I'm not going any further than that at this point. It's just too early. But Blake Fisher, second rounder, do you give up on him at this point? Because you're avoiding playing him. So I know you need bodies. Bodies are good. And I'm not saying they're going to give up on him, and I don't know that they should. But, it is what it is.
I mean, look, if the other guys in camp are performing better than him, and you talk about depth and where this roster is and who you want out there, if there's an injury at right tackle, and if Blake is that low on your priority list, this is an organization that fired 3 head coaches in 3 years and has shown that they're okay with eating money. And if they don't feel like Blake Fisher is the guy and they need different bodies out there, I could totally see them move on after just a season and a training camp if they feel that strongly. I don't know if they will or not, but if it's what's best for the football team, and I don't think he performed to the level that he needed to. We're like, Ariante Ursary, the one drive, Brian Baldiner put out did like a film study on it. So he's out there for 10 plays. The Texans go for 74 yards and a touchdown, and all the runs basically were behind him at left tackle. And it's just like it's not the Vikings number one. Like that's not Grenard out there, but it does feel like with Cam being down, he's really securing that left tackle spot. It really feels like the polar opposite of Blake Fisher at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with Blake. Maybe you just keep him on the roster for depth, like an emergency backup situation, because you can't have enough bodies as we've seen in the past, especially on the offensive line. So, I mean, listen, I think his future's baked in. I think they understand what they have, and most importantly, what they don't have. But I think the starting offensive line didn't give up one pressure for Davis Mills. Like there was no pressures allowed, and I think that was the most important thing. Just to be like, okay, we did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
We protected the quarterback, and now Nick Caley can say, all right, you did little. Now let's see what more you can do. So I want to trust you with little. Now I can trust you with more. Like step by step, building blocks and building confidence as well in the unit.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, I think they lost the game. It's preseason, but from the Davis Mills chunk of game, it was largely positive on offense and defense. Like as your main guys that were out there to start the game, they all looked pretty good. I mean, I think there's a lot to be overall positive about going forward with the Texans. Obviously, later in the game, like Graham Mertz, yikes.
The numbers look bad. So I actually did a breakdown on Kicking with Kunkel. There were a couple that were all right. So the one interception where he's rolling out and the receiver is kind of like, I don't know if it was an out route or a drag route. I don't know where he started, but there's a bubble. Like if these are the defenders, he's coming in the middle. Like he's got to stop on the zone. He's got to stop and find that bubble. And the bubble was huge, and he just kept running. That's a hard target to hit, and he's not supposed to keep running. He's supposed to stop. And Graham Mertz threw the right ball, but the receiver didn't stop in between the defenders. The other one, you had 2 receivers. Like right here.
Yeah.
Coming, like you should never have 2 receivers.
This is now my favorite part of the show, that we are using these Blue Star tequila bottles as Props for plays.
You can never have two receivers running like this. You're supposed to have a little bit of depth and then have them layered.
Yeah.
Clearly, it was not in the right position. Clearly, something went wrong with the receivers. Graham Mertz has to look, though, to know where the receiver is and where he isn't, and can't throw the ball just assuming he's in the right spot. Like, open the eyes, got to take some responsibility on that one. And then the batted ball. The offensive lineman has to hold down the arms of the defensive lineman in order to help Graham Mertz on that one. So, obviously, he takes some responsibility for that one as well. But the point is, it takes a lot for those interceptions to happen, and they weren't all Graham Mertz's fault just throwing bad passes. I think he's looked good in camp. I don't know that he's going to make the roster. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's going to be a good quarterback. I just mean those 3 interceptions looked bad. They're not good. You can't have them, but they're not all entirely his fault.
Yeah, it's, and again, like, this is, you're talking about QB3 at this point on the roster.
Exactly.
Like, is it him or is it, like, could it be Keaton Slovis? I mean, like, that's a kid who was once a prize recruit. You know, when he signed on with, I think he started at USC. It's hard to keep track with all the transfers.
I mean, Graham Mertz, I forgot he was at Wisconsin. And I forgot because and Northwestern beat the crap out of him when he was there. Go Cats. But then he had his ACL injury with the Gators. So, like, these guys are all studs at some point. I just, like, you know, just wasn't all his fault. That's all.
Yeah. Anything else stand out from the preseason game for you?
I had notes. I can't remember. Just, I love that swarm mentality permeates throughout the entire defense. Whether it's first string or fourth string, they play their ass off. And for them to get that turnover late, that fumble recovery, I thought was awesome because they just didn't stop playing. And you knew they were going to give up points because it was a quick change, a sudden change, and they were exhausted. And there's no subs at that point, so like you're just out there to dry.
Yeah, you're out there.
So for them to get that, I thought was great. I thought Nick Caley had a really good play, some really good play calls, not just only play calls, but designs and plan going into the game. The designs, guys were moving and guys were open. So Davis Mills missed that touchdown pass to Cade Stover.
Yes.
Cade Stover was open. It's a good play call. It's a good play design. And I forget I guess it was Dari, was wide open underneath too. So guys were wide open. Davis made the right decision, just didn't execute the throw. Whatever happened there. But the design and the play call was awesome. And that's what you ask for initially from Nick Caley. Put the guys in position to have success, and he did that flawlessly on that play, albeit it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, the other part, just for me, this last part, was just how they performed. I mean, I was very intrigued at the start of this game, honestly, even more a little bit on the Viking side, just like, what is J.J. McCarthy going to look like? And he had some good moments early on, but the Texans, you know, mostly backups, they stopped him. And Addison had some success early on as well, which is, you know, he's obviously not playing the first 3 games of the year for the Vikings. He'll be suspended. So expected to see him out there a lot like we did. But they held up against, like, really most of that Vikings first unit. So I thought that was a good test also to kind of start the preseason. It's like, okay, what does this, you know, top 10 pick look like against most of your backups? I thought that was also very positive. That first drive against J.J. McCarthy. Even though there was success early, they kind of did the whole bend but don't break mentality on the back end of it.
Yeah, I think it was kind of I think both offenses had success early. They had a plan. They had their 10 scripted plays. Each offense has had some success. Obviously, the Texans punched one in. So, yeah, like, I'm good with the defense. We know I don't need to see a lot from the defense.
Yeah,
I agree. We know what they're going to do. They're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
What I want to see are some young guys in the bet. I want more depth at certain positions, and I want those guys to show that they have the desire to play the way Demeco Ryans plays. And he said it several times. There is a way to play defense on the Texans. If you don't play that style of defense, we just don't have a spot for you. We don't have use for you. So that's what you're looking for, is the desire to want to hit and play downhill and know your assignment and not do too much, not play hero ball, just stay in your gap, do your job. And that's what I'm looking for. And then offensively, I need to see a lot more. And I want to see them expand it coming up against the Panthers.
How much do you want to see the starters in the game against the Panthers? Or, you know, as if the inter-squad practice against the Panthers, if that goes very well for, like, let's say CJ Stroud in the offense, are you okay if they don't play in preseason game number 2?
I don't care when they play, but I got to see them at some point. Like, I need to see them on the field in preseason for at least a half.
Yeah, I kind of hope that it's a home game, you treat your fans. I mean, look, they charge regular prices for parking, regular prices for tickets, regular prices for concessions. It's brutal. My dad and I have season tickets, and it's like, are we going this weekend? Like, what are we doing? I'm like, I don't know. It's preseason, Dad. Like, I don't really have like.
I went to a Jets-Giants
Yeah.
preseason game one time in my life. It was the last preseason game I went to as a fan.
Last year was our first one. The first year we had it, my dad went. I think they played the Rams in preseason. He was so excited. I was like, that's all you and Mom.
Merry Christmas, Dad.
I was like, I'm good. That's all you guys. But like, if the inner squad for me goes really well, they don't have to play on Saturday. Even again, I think it would be nice to treat your fans with at least one CJ Stroud possession on offense. But I think it really comes down to if they struggle in the inner squad in any capacity, I think those players should then play on Saturday.
I need to see significant success against the Panthers for them not to play Saturday. And I mean significant success compared to what we've seen against their own defense, the Texans defense, that is, in training camp. Because they haven't had a whole lot of success in training camp, which, okay, you're installing a new offense, you're figuring things out, you're going up against arguably the best defense in the NFL. Like, okay. But now against the Panthers, I need to see that you are significantly better than one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Like one of the worst. You have to have constant success at times. You have to. And then I still want to see, they have three? They have the Lions game, the Lions preseason game after that. So I need to see the starters on the field for at least a half. I said this last episode. I need to see enough. Whatever enough is one quarter enough to be like, all right, they look good.
But we'll know when we see it.
100%.
Yeah.
But I need to go into week one being like confident. And I need them to be confident. Like, damn with what I think. I need them to be confident. They need to know what they're doing and feel confident in what they're doing and what they're putting out there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because week one, I mean, this weekend, it was Matt Stafford. Expect to see him at practice on Monday. We're recording this on Tuesday, and he is yet to practice. It is still the Jimmy Garoppolo show with the Rams, and that's a back injury for Matt Stafford. Speaking of quarterbacks.
Matt's like the toughest son of a gun out there. Like, if he can play, he's going to play.
Yeah, which is why I feel like we'll still see Matt Stafford
Him not
in
practicing
week one.
is terrifying, though.
But, like, it's at some point, like, the alarm bell's got to go off a little bit. But speaking of quarterbacks, it's the offseason. It's list time.
No, it is the season.
It's like the season of lists. The big one that I think always catches the most attention across what we do is the NFL Top 100. It's voted on by the players. I despise how they're doing it this year. Like they're doing like 3 spots a day, and they're not even doing it every day. But finally, we see CJ Stroud make the list. He comes in at number 39 in the NFL Top 100. So there's still quite a few quarterbacks in front of him. There's a handful like Dak Prescott. I believe Justin Herbert behind him. But just on surface level, you hear CJ Stroud, 39th best player in the NFL. What do you think?
I think it's pretty high. Like, he did not have a great year last year.
I think he was 20 his first year.
And he had a great first year.
Yeah.
But I think we've talked about this on the Paul Gallant show when we filmed it a couple of times. Like, there is volatility when you have so few years in the league. First year, all right, he's great. Second bad year, oh my God, he's terrible. Now, third year, we're going to probably even it out a little bit. Maybe he moves up a little bit. Or if he doesn't have a good year, it drops even more. Like, Justin Herbert's been in the league, I think, for 7 years. So is he higher than CJ?
I think he's behind CJ.
No crap.
Yeah.
Like, he's not ahead of. I have, in my rankings, in my heart, in my mind, I have Justin Herbert higher only because he's had more success for a longer period of time. I'm not saying CJ can't get ahead of him with a good year this year, but there's just more volatility with CJ. I have no problem at 39. It sounds pretty high. I would want to look at the list and see kind of what quarterbacks are behind him, but every list I've seen so far has him around 10, and I think that's fair right now. It's not based on potential. It's not based on what CJ can do if everybody's healthy and the offensive line protects him. It's not based on that stuff. It's based on what you did. And he had a pretty decent year, but not a very good year. Like, he was about 39. It sounds okay with me.
Yeah, Justin Herbert came in at 56.
Oh, what?
I know.
56?
Baker Mayfield came in at 50.
Bro, no. For a year, I'm taking Baker Mayfield over CJ and Justin. Baker gets it done all the time, everywhere.
And it's not disrespect to CJ, but like.
It sounds like there's different criteria with everybody.
Well, this is where, so it's so.
Why do I get so fired up?
My favorite part about this list is how much, and it happens with the NBA All-Star game too, is how much the players can get angry. And we see some of them pop off on Twitter about what the media says. But then they get this opportunity to put this list together.
And they show that they don't know diddly.
And let me tell you, I have one major issue with this list.
I'm excited.
It has to do with another Texan. there's no chance in the world that you can tell me CJ Stroud is the 39th best player in the NFL.
I'm about to be scared.
And Will Anderson is 46th. Like, there's no planet in which Will Anderson, he could be, you could flip him.
You flip him, I'll be like, all right,
yeah,
cool.
But there's no way you could tell me Will Anderson is not a better football player than CJ Stroud.
Where's Stingley?
He has not come up yet. So right now they're at like 37.
Okay, so he's higher than.
So he's higher. Yeah,
He better be the highest ranked.
Oh yeah.
And if he's not, you can even do Danielle Hunter. I would put Danielle ahead of Will.
I think you could put. That's what I'm wondering. Like, is Danielle going to be on this list? Because right now there's 3. So there's.
If Danielle's not on the list, hell with the list.
I know. So CJ's at 39. Anderson's at 46. Joe Mixon right now is the other Texan on this list at 58. So they're at 37 right now. So they still got 36 spots left to go. But Travis Kelce just came in at 37. Was the last player they announced.
37.
I know.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, now he's going to get the Taylor Swift
He
bump.
dropped significant. I think he dropped. I think I saw that he dropped like 20 some odd spots.
Yeah. He had a big drop.
Which he should have. He had a bad year last year. I think he also is one of those guys that might just kind of rectify that number if he has a good year this year, which might be his last year. Mm-hmm. I hope he has a good year because I don't want him to go out with a whimper the way he did last year. He looked fat, slow, and sloppy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to have the #1 podcast probably in the history
that
of America.
Number is going to do Swarmcast numbers, like huge numbers.
I could only
huge numbers.
I mean, it's going to be. It's like the fact that that podcast, New Heights, is already huge. The fact that Taylor Swift,
forget about it.
I think it's dropping on the same day our podcast drops. So hopefully check us out.
Please like this, share it, subscribe it. Let's beat Taylor Swift, Texans fans.
It's just like it's gonna be a monster.
Bro, like every girl is gonna watch it. It's never watched a football podcast
ever.
Of all ages.
Yeah, because she released her album and she already put the name out there.
Worldwide, though, too. She's a worldwide star. The Kelceys are not worldwide stars.
They might be.
They're American stars.
They might be now.
Could you imagine? It's going to be the most viewed podcast in the history of podcasts, right?
Yeah, I think, not to get political, but I don't know what the final number on Trump Rogan was. But,
I'm sure it was obviously massive. But again, that's like American.
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest podcast of all time.
It has to be.
I don't think there'll be anything that will ever touch it.
Because has she ever, why are we talking? See, look.
It's football.
We're pushing it. Has she ever been on a podcast like this?
I don't think so.
If she had, I wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah. But, Swarmcast. All right, we'll take a break here. When we get back, we got one more list to get into. I know Will has thoughts. So the Killer Bees dropped their top 10 quarterback list. I want to react to it, especially now with that reaction. Before we do that, let's hear from our friends at Blue Star Tequila so they can teach you what night harvesting is all about.
In the highlands of Jalisco, as the fierce heat of day fades into dusk, the sun dips below the horizon, and our jimadores begin their work. Harvesting our precious agave azul beneath the glow of stars, while the night air is cool and calm. Away from the harsh heat of the sun, we protect our agave's freshness, locking in essential natural properties and sweetness, and preserving its unique flavor profile. This world-first practice has been warmly embraced by our jimadores, who relish the soothing embrace of evening's cool air as they work beneath the moonlight. 100% agave azul, night harvested, unfiltered, and additive-free. We invite you to taste the Blue Star difference.
Every single year, Will, the Killer Bees, they do a top 10 list. When I used to be the producer on that show, I was part of it. They've had it, it's always kind of up and down where you see these guys are at. The way they do it is there's 3 people on the show. They each put together their own top 10 list. And then Brian, the producer this year, he puts them all, assigns point values to number 1, and it ends up being their official list. So we're going to look at their official list and see where CJ ranks and where you have the biggest beef.
What's the ranking? What's the list?
So number 1, their top 10
I mean, what do they rank? What's the title? What top in the NFL or just Texans?
Yeah, top 10 NFL quarterbacks.
Top 10. Okay.
So number 1, Mahomes. Number 2.
Actually, I wouldn't put Mahomes 1. I would put Josh Allen.
Yeah, they have Josh Allen too. I think Jeremy's a hater. Jeremy says Josh Allen will never win a Super Bowl. That's why.
If he doesn't, it's not because of him. It's just because it's a team game and the team doesn't nah.
Number 3, they have Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5 is Jalen Hurts. Number 6 is Jaden Daniels. Number 7, Jared Goff. Tied for 8th is Baker Mayfield and Matt Stafford. And then coming in the last spot in their top 10, CJ Stroud.
Let me look at this list. I mean, I don't have a problem with Stroud being at 10, I don't think. I probably put him ahead of Jared Goff.
That's what I said.
Jay Daniels is really high, but again, like I said before, he had a great rookie season. He had a better rookie season than CJ Stroud has had, and CJ had a historically great rookie season. Jaden could be 15 after this year. Who knows?
Yeah.
He could jump up. Although I have no problem with the top 5, first of all. You want to reorder Mahomes and Allen, okay, but Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, and Hurts. I think Hurts gets disrespected by too many people. I'm glad they didn't disrespect Hurts. I would even put Hurts above Lamar just because he never screws, like he doesn't seem to screw up. Lamar has the potential to do that because so much is on his shoulders. Baker Mayfield, Matt Stafford, interchangeable, but I love both of those guys. It's not that bad. It's not that bad of a
they
list.
did okay. They did okay.
Yeah.
My issue is honestly, I think
Jared Goff is not ahead of Baker and Matthew. I will say that.
That was my biggest takeaway too.
I will say that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It really does feel like the consensus is that CJ Stroud is still a top 10 quarterback, in the NFL. Mike Sando put out his one that he does where he actually gets NFL GMs and assistant GMs and scouts to do it, and CJ came in tied for 9th with Jalen Hurts on that one. So even though he had the down year, I think it's, for me, it's two things. It's one, I think it should be a breath of fresh air for Texans fans that it's like, hey, yes, last year was frustrating, but look at all these people, specifically in the Mike Sando one, who are in the NFL community, who are evaluating players on a weekly basis in the offseason for the draft, all of it. They still put Stroud in that category. They recognize that the flaws that were with the Houston Texans last year are not on CJ's shoulders.
100%. I don't know that that's how you can build a list.
Yeah.
Because it seems like we have different expectations and different measuring tools for every quarterback.
Yes.
Like Justin Herbert, he's been better than CJ, but he hasn't gotten, we now expect Justin to take the next step, whatever that is, as a team and get further. But he hasn't, therefore we penalize him. But for CJ, we actually kind of reward him despite the issues around him.
Yeah, when you're younger, you get more of a pass, right?
Right.
And honestly, I think if Justin Herbert, if they flip, if CJ has a couple turnovers and it costs the Texans the game versus the Chargers in the playoffs, like kind of Herbert did, I think that is flipped on all these lists. I think Justin Herbert goes above CJ. There is that recency bias of that final game, but yeah, I mean, I have, I wasn't sure, kind of my bigger thought on this was that at the end of last year, it was like, is CJ Stroud still a top 10 quarterback? My immediate reaction was always no, after the way he played. But now that we're farther away from last season, I'm like, okay.
He's in that conversation.
He's still in that weird group. Because I think you're right. It's 1 through 5 are very clear.
Yep. And
then I think really 6 through 13 is that next group, including guys like Herbert and Purdy, that you're just like, I don't really know. It's going to be dealer's choice a lot of times.
The 6 through 13, Jaden Daniels kind of aside, but those other guys, it's really dependent on what's going on around them. Because the top 5 we think are going to have success no matter who their OC is, no matter who's around them. They make guys better. They elevate everybody around them no matter what. I know it was so bad around CJ before the fans get all fired up, but CJ didn't elevate anybody last year. And I know he didn't have the chance to or the opportunity. Fine, but you can't make those excuses forever. At some point, it is what it is. And it's all kind of baked into the cake of that decision. I think this year's going to be really interesting for Jared Goff. Can Jared Goff remain that high on the list without Ben Johnson, without his all-pro center, and without, who else? Aaron Glenn on defense helping kind of move that train along. So very interested to see what Jared can do. If Jared can do it, then he deserves to be that high on the list and then some maybe.
What do you think it takes for CJ Stroud this season to... Can he break through into the top 5? Or even into the conversation of these are the top 6 and you can put it in any order?
So every one of those top 5 quarterbacks, and top 6 quarterbacks, are the engine of their offense. They are the offense goes as they go. As soon as you get to Jared Goff, it's more about Jahmyr Gibbs. Jared Goff has a huge role, not saying,
sure.
but
you have Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra.
Right. There's a whole lot around there. That's
Yeah.
why Jalen Hurts is 5. It's because there's so many weapons around him. It's like Saquon and then Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown. There's a whole lot around him. C.J. Stroud needs to be the reason, not Joe Mixon, not the defense. It needs to be C.J. Stroud is the reason the Texans are having success. And if he can do that, then he can go anywhere on that list.
Yeah, I think because the only guy that is really comparable, because I think we all know, plus with the injury to Joe Mixon, it's you're probably expecting a lot less from the run game this year, and maybe in terms of how dynamic it can be. It needs to be good, but like, the only guy on that list that's comparable what's happening in Philadelphia, or honestly even in Washington with Terry McLaurin, assuming he plays this year, is Nico. Like Nico Collins is really the only like elite difference maker so far. I mean, we talked about the NFL top 100. He's going to be higher, obviously.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the top 25 probably at this point with where he's at in his career. But the other weapons, it's a bunch of rookies, some cast-offs, and guys like Christian Kirk and Dalton Schultz. If CJ can elevate this team into a top 3 seed, he has a shot, I think, to make this list. But for him to the top 5 of this list, I do think ultimately, though, he's going to have to get a much deeper postseason run.
That and
he
just has to put, like, for a list like this, you ultimately just have to put like a whole bunch of great numbers up.
Yeah.
Like, look at the weapons around Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. CJ's got more weapons than those guys.
100%.
Joe Burrow obviously has the most weapons out there, and his defense is so damn bad that they're slinging it all over the yard. Lamar Jackson,
it's solid.
Decent weapons.
Yeah,
like,
Zay's okay.
Like Zay's okay. Mark Andrews let him down in the postseason, but certainly a weapon. Obviously, Derrick Henry, a big-time weapon. Jayden Daniels, weapons enough. I just got to see more from Jayden to like really dive in on that. Jared, a ton of weapons. Baker, some good weapons. Matthew Stafford, McVay, and weapons. CJ's got weapons-ish, but certainly more than Patrick and Josh.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Which is ironic because those are your top 2 quarterbacks, and I think that's why.
It's also the reality of the NFL is those are your top 2 quarterbacks, and as you pay them, which we're not far away from with CJ Stroud getting that contract, like it's once CJ Stroud's making $65, $70 million a year, whatever the number is by the time he hits, it's contract time, which the Texans need to be the opposite of, the Cowboys, which they've done so far. Like
Jerry
Nick Caserio has
been.
Idiot. And Nick Caserio's like, he's the exact opposite. He's paying Stingley before Sauce Gardner gets paid. He's paying his guys, like what he did with Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
Like they're going to pay CJ basically the second I think he's eligible.
I'm CJ, and I know this is so easy to say because it's such a hypothetical, I'm going the Tom Brady route. Like I don't want to ever be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I'll make up all that money in endorsements and appearance fees and
HEB's got you.
Yeah, like I'm getting that money elsewhere if I take $10 million less a year, $15 million less a year, which is obviously a ton of money. But if you have wild success, that money will multiply by plenty.
Especially because, look, the Texans' window here to win a Super Bowl is open. But it will get more challenging if he doesn't take a smaller cut, which obviously gut reaction is he won't. But if you have the highest paid quarterback, the highest paid pass rusher in Will Anderson, and like the 4th or 5th highest paid cornerback by that point, Derek Stingley Jr., even though, yes, the salary cap goes up every single year, it just gets more complicated. Like, Danielle Hunter will not be a Texan at some point because of those contracts that are being handed out. It'll be up to Caserio and Demeco to fill those voids, but you're going to quickly wake up into a very expensive roster in the league.
Yeah, you saw it happen with the Seahawks. Like they had to pay Russell Wilson a massive number, and then the Broncos did it. They couldn't finagle around that contract. They just got rid of him. Not that CJ's going to be like a bad quarterback like Russell was, but I'm telling you, like I'm allowing guys to get their money because those positions, first of all, get hurt significantly more. They want more. That's why they always get their money and take their money. But didn't Josh Allen take less?
I think it took a little bit less, yeah.
Like at least enough to be able to get more pieces around him.
Yeah.
Even I know Patrick Mahomes had a wild deal initially, but looking back on it, it's not that great of a deal for him.
It's a bad deal for Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear it 10 years, $500 million, but like the way it's actually like played out, like it was so locked up that you're like, man, Mahomes is way underpaid now.
But now their defense is great. Their defense carries them in situations, or really carries them overall because the offense wasn't very good. They were just good when it needed to be the most in the playoffs, just by enough. But like, if I'm CJ, I'm just taking less and I'm making it. You're still getting $50 million a year, $60 million a year, whatever it is that wherever it is that you want to knock yourself down, you're going to be straight. And then you win. Your legacy is set. You won't have to buy dinner anywhere ever again in your life in Houston.
No, you win if he ever wins here. Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Like go that route and make your money. Make the money up that way.
All right, he's Will Kunkel. I'm Joe George. We're here with you every single week talking all things Houston Texans on the Swarmcast. Will, where can they find your podcast?
You can find my podcast, Kicking with Kunkel, right here on YouTube. Just go over there, subscribe. You can also find me on X. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on TikTok. Yeah, not doing dances, doing fun stuff.
Yeah, TikTok's still a weird one for me. I'm doing it, but I'm not doing the dancing.
It's big in Houston. You know, like Houston fan base is big in there.
It is.
It's
It
good.
is. It's an interesting one. I think
I haven't screwed up my algorithm yet, so I'm not seeing all the BS. Thank God.
Yeah, I try not to as much as I possibly can. All right, he's Will Kunkel. I'm Joe George. You can find me on all social media platforms at Joe George Radio. Plus, check me out Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays on Last Call on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 at 6 p.m. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching and listening. Peace.